All right. Let's do this. Hello, everybody. My name is GameCubeDude, and welcome back to the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Unfortunately, Zeke is no longer able to join me on the streams due to personal reasons that I'm not going to disclose. But I'm still here. So, I hope you're happy with just me. I know, we're all gonna miss Zeke. But, you know, we'll, I think we can still enjoy this game. So, let's go ahead. And, I guess, investigation part 3. Alright, so let's see. Last we left off, we found out that the door could have theoretically bolted itself shut. Excuse me. 9th of January. Is this the same day? Okay, so we're in Miss Pavlova's cabin. Somehow, the door to the cabin where we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. Oh, okay. You! What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. It's gonna be really hard doing all these voices. Should have got a gallon of water. I'm just stuck here with one measly little cup. Oh well. Yes, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. The person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos! Passengers are screaming! Crew are running around everywhere! This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean... Oh, someone wanted this to happen. Interesting. That someone pressed that button outside? Is there a button outside for... I'll have to take another look. I don't recall there being a button. Right, okay, so this girl's Russian, so... You wicked intruder! Dressed all in black! You are the devil! I can't. I cannot do Russian accent, and... Okay, so what am I gonna do for her voice? I guess what I had works. Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case! How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. So now we got a cat running around. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man! I know what he did! I know he did it! He is a criminal! It's not enough that he killed... is it not enough that he has killed a man? Duh! And he is stowaway as well! If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? Ugh. Take him away! He is a trespasser as well as everything else! Stowing away, trespassing, killing! She is right! You are devil! It doesn't look good, does it? There is cell below deck! Throw him in! Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. Wait! A cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options.
This is terrible.
This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately! Okay. Maybe, What the fuck? What are you... Alright. What the... What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? He's wearing the tiara! Naturally, I was analyzing the weight of 20,000 rubles. I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. I have not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do. It is my business to know what other people do not. This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no, no. Well, why are you hanging from the hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of 20,000 rubles, naturally. By possibly damaging the ship's interior? Yeah, that's gonna go well. I wish to determine if it would bend that, conceited looking hook on the wall. So full of, barg and bounce. Or brag and bounce? So full of brag and bounce. Now that's a new term for me. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Give Sholmes a heavy British accent. I'll try. You again. The great detective. Ah, Inspector. I confess I have been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak! An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved. By me, naturally. What? Really? Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanation exists. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Alright, we're listening. Ha! You have solved it! Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing Student Boy this morning. When we found... criminal. When we found criminal in wardrobe! It is the stowaway! And he has handcuffs to prove it! I didn't do it! The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin.
Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
Da! Locked room! That is point!
The room was locked.
Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from the outside of the cabin. You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all.
What?
Oh yes, there is another entrance. Huh? Where? An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one! The voice acting you do in these streams is always so cool. Thank you, man. I just wish my voice was fully recovered. Still haven't completely gotten over being sick. Why, it gapes open mouth why, it gapes open mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator man. The ventilator? You think this is funny? Well, you did just laugh. I cannot even put my arm through that hole. That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening? It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator.
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Cosmo-san wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Okay, what are you getting at? Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There is a distant element of danger. But fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! Ah! What the? Oh, God! What? Yo, Stroganoff! Why is he so calm? Allow me to introduce you all to the band, the Speckled Band. A snake? Indubitably. Are we gonna help that guy? That thing might kill him. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. I am okay with events that are currently unfolding. Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? Wait a minute. Oh, I just thought of something. Could this snake be Pavlova's friend she was referring to? Is this her pet that she brought with her? A freaking snake? Oh, no. No way. Oh, no. Oh, man. Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Hmm?
Yes, you're right. I think in this case, you'd have to call it... the striped band. Or the striped band, wouldn't you?
You both see and observe with distinction. However, do you not think that this is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall?
Oh my goodness! Really? It's a trap?
How exactly? I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies. I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavla? The snake really is hers. Oh no.
I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me.
There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one. Last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two. That same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
No.
She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit that nail on the head. Well, the problem is that I'm pretty sure the post-mortem report, wherever it might be, okay. The cause of injury as a cervical spine injury. I'm not sure how that snake could have possibly given him a spine injury. That's the only problem I see here. Excuse me. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Ahsoki? Oh, that's... Oh, I get it. It looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of the long friend in your, you wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Here we go again. The game is afoot. Intruder's identity. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death is nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. She was looking at her hand. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. I feel like I just slurred my words there. Oh well. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that pretentious night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with you which you boarded in this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without a doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. Oh, maybe it's not? She seemed confused there. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written... Sholmes might want to back up a little bit. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? She's stuffing her hands in her pocket now.
No! Don't look at me! This has nothing to do with any of this!
Oh, but it does. You have the answers to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Oh. What the... Yes. That which you are trying, but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's salted skin. I doubt it. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crimes, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin. No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Last night, through the ventilator visible in the cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it sloughs its skin. Sloughs its skin? These freaking old-timey words, I swear. It could have bit his back as he wrote in the diary, causing him to suddenly stop. Well, the report said that he was, he got a whack to the back of the head, an impact of sorts, caused the spinal injury. I don't think a snake's bite is that powerful, unless that thing's a python. A snake so dreadfully, we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. Conclusion, a beloved speckled snake. Topic 2. How Mr. Ahsoki died. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data which I have been appraised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. Wouldn't the doctor examining the body have found the snake bite too? I don't know, things just don't seem to be adding up with this line of logic. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no! Could there be?
Yes. An examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite, imperceptible? Okay. The almost, but not quite, imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of snakebite delivery by your terrifying friend.
This makes no sense!
There's no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glances betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the case, links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in the cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt.
You don't...
It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you used to train your serpent's friend.
To train?
Indeed. You put the serpent through this ventilator and waited. After a period, you summoned it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you released the snake once more. Do you deny this snake has undergone such training?
It's not true!
Having slithered through the ventilators and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the Speckled Band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible. I don't know about that one, buddy. Death by a venomous snake's bite. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the Speckled Band. Okay. That was a lot of words. So, are we gonna help that guy? You know, there's still a, venomous creature around his face. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you will observe a saucer of milk. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, okay. It can't be a snake. It just can't. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible. You've solved the mystery. Ryunosuke's like, hey, yo, this will get me off the hook, so I'll roll with it. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man. It was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. That guy went to Siberia and witnessed much worse, trust me. If you say so, man. I can't imagine. What could be worse than having death literally wrapped around your face?
Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes?
But of course. What's on your mind?
It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me.
I welcome questions about my, I welcome questions as to my method, and I will answer both loudly and proudly.
Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family.
You are well informed, madam.
And reptiles, don't drink milk.
Huh. Ah.
It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward.
No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds.
Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears.
Wait, can snakes not hear? Ah.
Yes, so I'm not sure it would be really possible to signal a snake by whistling.
Really? I didn't know that snakes can't hear. That is new to me. Huh. Excuse me. But madam, what are the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sound of a flute?
I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes.
There is one other thing.
You have more?
Snakes use their scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord, like the ones in these cabins.
They should... Then it should try harder!
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had part in this.
He looks so defeated.
I think we need to step in and help, we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh no. You don't mean...
Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' last deduction and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for. Mr. Naruhodo! Yes, right! So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What? You've done it again!
Your handcuffs are gone!
Where did they go? Fear not. I shall see they're restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. I think he'd get thrown off the ship if he did. Now, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. All right. Let's see what I can do. I don't remember how to do this, so this is going to be interesting. Let's go. You claim the following. His death had nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Okay. Looking at her hands. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. She does have a pained expression on her face.
Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-san's death is weighing heavily on her mind.
But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then?
Let's take a moment. And really look very closely at Miss Pavlova.
Okay. Oh! Oh, okay, so it wasn't the snake that was her pet. We got proof right here.
Yes.
Excuse me. Yes. When you recall those horde events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed. And simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch? Sometime last night?
When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse.
And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that pretentious night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Nope, that's still him. As I suspected, another telltale glance. Without a doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they?
No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow.
Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? We should follow her
We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer.
Alright. Oh! Hey! That was pretty quick. I was expecting I'd have to push the camera down to the floor. But I can't even do that. Oh. So that wasn't right. Okay, maybe I really do have to find the cat. You were looking over at this framed photographic print, weren't you, Miss Pavlova? But let's not be distracted by the print itself. Oh, no. It's the frame that is your friend. Yeah, okay, Rinanosuke. Because it is so beautifully displays whatever you put inside it. What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruhodo? Just following the natural progression of the deduction. Sometimes the truth hurts. Well, the truth is you do not have a turn for observation or deduction. Did that hurt? A lot. Yes. Alright, let's try that again. We can be reasonably sure that Miss Pavlova's furtive glance was aimed at her friend. And that same friend is probably responsible for the scratch on the back of her hand. We also know whatever it is, this friend must be small enough to pass through the ventilator. That really ought to narrow it down. Let me scout out in that direction again. Okay. I can only move the camera so much. I don't see anything. Teapot. Okay, there is really only so many places. It's not the snake. I'm looking for a small animal. Maybe if I examine this? Ah, look at that photo. Look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away.
She's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she?
Yes, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we'd better take a closer look at this. Okay. Alright, so I was on the right track. Sometimes you gotta get a closer look at things. Then let's try presenting this.
Yes!
Alright. Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear.
Oh no!
The whereabouts of this black kitten is clear. Isn't clear. But what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you?
Ah! Darka is my best friend.
Darka. Not even gonna lie, that's a good name for a cat. That sounds cool. Darka the cat.
I couldn't leave her behind.
Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. Oh, Russian blues. Those are actually really pretty cats. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Excuse me. Whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we give then, pray? What was it what was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? Have you ever watched the Ace Attorney anime? Yeah. It was pretty decent.
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answers to this quandary even now hidden behind your back. I had a Russian blue, his name was George, but me and my sister would call him Fatso because of the way he was born. Dang, you bullied your cat.
Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back.
If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known. Oh, yes. I keep accidentally giving her a British accent.
Oh, yes. Ploys like that are Mr. Sholm's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something.
I thought deduction was his specialty. Or maybe making me believe that that was a ploy too.
Anyway, I find it hard to believe that that's the skin of a snake.
It looks more like a suit tie. In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Let's see. Snake sloughed skin. No, that is clearly not what that is. It's a cat toy. I can tell it is a cat toy. Now, how exactly do I, maybe I just need to examine it again. Let's try that. Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. And that looks like a handle at one end.
I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently.
How is that a toy for cats?
Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounced to catch it.
That sounds positively adorable. All right. Present. Yes, the thing you are trying, but failing to conceal, is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous Speckled Band. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. So her cat did get into Kazuma's room. That's the only reason. Okay, so the cat climbed up that rope, went through the ventilator, and she, trying to get the cat's attention, pushed that thing through the ventilator. Interesting. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighbor's cabin, or the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah! In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. A truly troublesome feline young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Okay.
It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she's so naughty.
Excuse me. Alright, a beloved kitten. Solved. Alright, topic 2. How Mr. Ahsoki died. Well, the cat couldn't possibly have killed Kazuma. There's no way a little cat could possibly inflict a spinal injury on a human. I just don't buy that. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data which I have been appraised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom.
What Mr. Soames says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body.
That's right. Okay, there were no signs of a wound. Yet the doctor said that a neck injury is what killed him. Joking aside, Fatso was a good cat, but he died young. Oh, I'm sorry, man. But Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned.
Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
Okay, that would be the post-mortem report.
Yes.
Post-mortem report really does just sound like a British version of autopsy report. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes. I knew it was one or the other.
his neck was...
Indeed. The breaking of cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that golem would be strong enough to survive that. Seaman Stroganoff isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no! Could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something or someone.
Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though.
Presumably, Tarka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow.
I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly.
Can you really die just by falling to the ground? Well, yeah, I guess that is possible.
It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident.
Well, if that was the case, there probably wouldn't be writing on the ground in front of him.
Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-san, though. He wasn't a clumsy man.
Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow.
Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened?
The mark on the floor, maybe? Let's see. Not the ship's log. Okay, I'm thinking the mark on the floor. Well, I guess the post-mortem report could also work. But we just used that, didn't we? I'm gonna... Okay, well, wardrobe in purple ink. Okay, that's probably not gonna do anything. Okay, it's definitely between the post-mortem report or the mark on the floor. You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb and try the mark on the floor. Oh, hey, Funky Thor. How's Ace Attorney Friday? It's pretty good. Unfortunately, we don't have Zeke along for the ride anymore, but we'll make do. Oh, I was right. Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish.
Shoe polish?
Indeed. Positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry on now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Ahsoki's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Ahsoki must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped.
Please, no!
And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in an instant, he lost his life.
No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Ahsoki lost his life? Yes, there are as the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case.
I don't believe it! Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more?
Yeah, no. None of us are buying that.
It can't be true! I refuse to accept it!
I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened.
But...
And if this part of Mr. Sholm's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes.
Where, I wonder?
Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Tiara. What can I examine? What am I allowed to examine here? The traveling case, the waste bin. I've got 3 things to examine. Okay. Let's try this.
This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them.
But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin last night. Presumably, there's not much rubbish in there yet. Oh! Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh? What's that?
It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I feel I've seen it somewhere before.
If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you.
All right. Present.
Yes!
That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in the waste paper basket. Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Ahsoki's cabin. As you can see, the 2 pieces fit together perfectly.
Oh no!
So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin?
Ah!
You're well acquainted. You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know in that hushed Russian accent of yours. I don't know in that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question.
What?
Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be... Excuse me. Well, the mark on the floor? I guess this? Or my other guess is the fact that Kazuma apparently wrote in Russian. I'll try the mark on the floor.
Yes!
I think, yes, this is the evidence. Ahem, my dear fellow, that evidence. deserves one of Miss Pavlova's dismissals. Dismissals. Deserves one of Miss Pavlova's trademark dismissals, I would say. Would you do the honors, young lady?
I don't know.
Okay, wasn't that. Perhaps you would care to propose some other piece of evidence? Then the answer is really quite simple. But then, there is nothing more deceptive than an obvious fact. Okay. I don't suppose there's... I can only guess it's... No. Article about the ballerina. I don't see the cup anywhere here. Kazuma's diary? Hear faint whistling. What looks like some sort of speckled band denting the Russian writing. Yeah, that is going to be my second guess, but I was just checking if there was another possibility. I'm not seeing one, so I guess we'll try this. I think, yes, this is the evidence. Okay, it wasn't this either. Okay. I am totally stumped right now. I don't know. You guys got any ideas? Nothing to report. What on earth could it possibly be? The bell is in the photograph? This one? What the? Oh! Good eye, Anthony. I'll try that.
Yes.
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, is the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly, inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka. There's no way that can be it. Just can't. There's no way a cat killed this guy. First off, what could he possibly have tripped and fell on? And how could there be Russian writing on the floor?
I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry.
Deduction complete. Elementary. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night.
It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands.
People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments.
She was so fast. She disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her.
And that is how you acquired a rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it. What a way to go. He did not trip and fall over this cat. I just don't buy that.
Yes.
Excuse me.
And I read the, rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me.
Yes. Modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. It saw the snake and freaked out. That's a possibility, actually.
So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise next to the cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping.
So at that point, you thought it safe to try and lure the kitten back again? By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining cabin?
Darka always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her, softly, but nothing. She didn't return.
So the faint whistling sound Cosmo wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova, trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened.
Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she calmed down. But then...
What the?
I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang.
Bang.
Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent.
Cosmo was... From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim slipping on the glass bell and tripping. The SS Bura is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Ahsoki was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards? She still doesn't know where the cat is, does she? No, wait, her suitcase was rattling.
In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator.
Yet Taka is nowhere to be seen.
I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she's disappeared again.
Gracious. That cat is as insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about him. He knows something about himself, at least.
When I woke this morning, I heard that a young man in the cabin next to mine, had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back.
Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it, and where did it come from? What the Oh! Beef? You sure you don't need help right now? Excuse me. What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board the ship?
Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend.
You have got to be kidding me.
His name is...
Piroshoko?
His name is Piroshoko. What?
What? That snake belongs to you?
He escaped from cage when the emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here.
Yes! How did that snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board.
Ha! We are at sea for only... Wait. We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend? Without someone who understands?
Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better? Say that first next time. Yeah, for real. But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake. Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in.
No venom. Piroshoko does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny.
Yeah, okay. It's venomless?
Yes. Now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile.
And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose?
Ha! Like they say they milk chickens.
What?
Ha! Like they say they milk chickens. Ridiculous! Snakes that drink milk are only stupid stories. Or only in stupid stories. Piroshoko eats mouse. Big, fat, round mouses.
Ah. Oh, so is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for?
Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food?
Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can't climb up a bell cord, and it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept land in a starring role?
It's not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Piroshoko is nothing to do with incident.
So that's what happened. So the snake is a constrictor then. Yeah, get that thing off his head. Well, you know what? If he's not getting it off his head at this point, whatever. Whatever happens is on him. It is on beef stroganoff. That's what I say at this point. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death.
Miss Pavlova. I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. Please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But
What are you talking about, Miss Mikotoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events. An accident.
Yeah, none of us buy that.
I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it.
Funny that you mentioned finger. I confess. I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on the matter. Oh? I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. Huh? A distraction? I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Ah! Not again! When did he do that? Especially as they're on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call.
You were, Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes. Kazuma was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even. Do you think the Korean channeling technique and spirit mediums exist in this era? I'm gonna guess no. I don't think Korean is a village at this point in time. Excuse me. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. About how that scene in your cabin came to be. Or really came to be. Alright. I'll see what I can do. Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo.
So then, shall we begin? Yes! What should we ponder first? Or what we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instance.
But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that climbed into the cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident.
Hold it!
Wait! let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it?
I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid.
Yes. It's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right here in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident.
Really?
Let us show our hand, Mr. Nadahodo. Time to present the evidence. Do I need to examine and, Okay, let's go ahead and,
Yes.
The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Ahsoki could have left this message on the floor. Everyone gets the culprit. I call the mysterious captain, whom we haven't heard from yet. Okay, well, the fact that it's written in Russian means it has to be a Russian guy. And, well, if this is a Russian ship, then I see where you're drawing that from. I kind of want to guess Beef Stroganoff. Or maybe that other sailor. It's got to be a Russian guy, so, you know, that narrows it down pretty hard. Anybody else want to take a guess?
That's script. It's Russian, isn't it?
Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe.
I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language, Japanese in this case.
But maybe he was studying Russian. It's a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast.
Is it really? Huh. Maybe I should study it. That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not.
Sorry? What do you mean?
Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Ahsoki could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death!
Ah!
I guess the other sailor, because we haven't seen him for a good while. Okay. It has to be one of the sailors, because they would have pushed the button to emergency stop the ship. Then again, anyone could have done that, but I'm still thinking it's got to be one of the sailors. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he was already dead! That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there, if what Miss Pavlova told us was true.
What?
So, Susato-san noticed it too then. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives away the truth. Another piece of evidence that proves it was no accident. In other words... The scuff mark, maybe? I'm gonna try the scuff mark, because I don't see anything else that could be.
Yes.
This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor.
But that's the glass bell the kitten had around its neck. We already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic?
Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw.
What?
If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin?
Oh!
Yes. Remember that we found the other half of this glass bell in the waste paper basket.
Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova?
Oh no.
Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Ahsoki died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth. In order to cover up his or her own guilt.
Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Ahsoki's.
Is this the Russian guy?
You are wasting time.
Thought so.
Someone else was there? Duh! Of course! We know this!
Excuse me. What are you talking about?
Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out.
Oh, yes.
And only other person in this cabin when young student died was you.
Yes!
It's true. I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor. In an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep the entire time. And then, the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen on the floor for fear of it becoming evidence that it would show how Mr. Ahsoki really died.
But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was going to raise questions.
Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. The signal, small lamps suspended from the ceiling would barely have cast any light onto the floor there. Little wonder, then, that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item.
You all suspect me, don't you?
Seaman Stroganov? Where'd the snake go?
Hey, yo, no! We don't want to be in here with a snake on the loose! Hey, find it! Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on this ship, a member of ship's band.
She's the daughter of somebody on the ship? Is she your daughter?
You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal.
Ah, so that's it.
You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth.
Well, this is almost interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure?
You are a great detective. You should know. Look truth in eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina. Not anyone. Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors? Niet! It's impossible!
Ah! He's right! Oh, man.
But wait! I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so they can open and close them from outside.
Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors.
Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect from any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel, with not a gap in sight, no threads or needles or magnets could have been used.
No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so...
Susato-san! How could you shift on me like that?
So Seaman Stroganov has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted from the outside.
Not necessarily.
What?
I put it to you that I had... I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door. Without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I've had in mind, having been used before.
I don't believe it.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? A way to shut the bolts of the cabin door from the outside? One way does spring to mind, yes.
Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, man. Yes, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen. Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside. I guess it could, What can I even select? Oh, the bell cord! No, wait, no, that wouldn't work. Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door from across. Yeah, I'm trying. The blue highlighter isn't working, though. Can I just...
Yes.
Oh, okay. Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and things have toppled over?
That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before.
Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over.
I believe... Yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia, acting on the objects.
Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or that... or that isn't in her book, at least? Well, whatever it's called. The same force that pushed over those books on this bookcase also made something else in the cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then...
Hello? Is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance!
Oh, I guess I should have done that in a Russian accent. Oh, that sounds like...
Inspector Hosen...
Oh. Okay, then. I guess not.
Oh, yes! That's it! When the ship suddenly stopped, the bolt flew across and locked the door.
Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inepta, if you want to call it that.
Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Ahsoki was killed,
Yep.
the SS Bureau made another emergency stop?
When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over.
Oh, yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I?
Then when we came into the cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Ahsoki's cabin.
Oh, my!
Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova?
Are you out of your mind? You say Bureau made emergency stop?
It does seem a little far-fetched.
How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room.
Oh, it is simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside?
Used to trigger the emergency alarm? Oh, yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there? Telling you only to press the button in times of emergencies.
On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence, the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity.
Wait! It was you?
Wait, what?
He what?
When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. You can't be.
Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you.
Oh! What the hell is wrong with this guy?
As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion.
What the? I can't with this. What are? What the? Oh man.
He sounds almost proud of himself. So Sholmes framed Ryu? No, I don't think so. I think he just decided to push the button for fun.
How dare you mess with my ship? How dare you mess with ship? I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now.
Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin door slide closed. So, what we must now consider?
Yes, It all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Ahsoki, did this ship make an emergency stop, or did it not?
You are idiots! Burya is huge ship with many passengers. If we make emergency stop, even in middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere!
What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea.
Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, the ship's log, of course. Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped the vessel last night? Ship's log. He just stopped reporting.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganov. It's your duty to patrol the first class area of the ship, isn't that right?
Duh! That is correct. Why?
And the ship's log here. This would be where you record the details of your duties.
What are you doing with that? That is mine!
Ah, you rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift Buryu. Buryu? I don't know. The makeshift Buryu in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return it to you later.
I left it there on purpose! That is where I always put it!
The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances, you write the phrase nothing to report every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all.
Nothing recorded in the log? That is... Duh! Because nothing happened!
But if nothing happened, you would normally write nothing to report, wouldn't you? Indeed so. Which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Burya. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact.
Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish!
Or rubbish. If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh? Why?
Well, because if something major as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. This ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened at the dead of night.
Well, no. That's a good point. What of the throbbing? I was just about to say, didn't they all say they had headaches?
Sorry? What do you mean?
Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it. Ah! Oh, yes. I have had a headache. You're right. Oh, whoops, that's, Hosonaga.
Oh, yes. I have had a headache. You're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today.
Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. He's right. My head's been throbbing today, too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. Then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe, and he didn't wake up from doing that. That's interesting. And had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all that was happening to me? Tell me, Mr. Nadahodo. You boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes. Sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Ah, well, Kazuma looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals. Why would Ryunosuke kill his source of food on the ship? Exactly. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes, in fact. I had all of that. Kazuma wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right. He didn't touch it. Is it possible that someone was messing with everybody's food? That's gotta be it! Somebody drugged the chicken! That's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant? My dear fellow, does that not strike you?
Oh! Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken?
I do. No! Really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a soporific. A soporific. I think. Tampered with by the addition of a soporific, designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it.
A sleeping drug?
Do you mean whoever did this laced a meal with a sleeping drug? So no one would notice the ship's emergency stop?
Mr. Nadahodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea.
Precisely. Excuse me. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What? What?
Mr. Sholmes!
Well, Seaman. I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere.
Oh, no way!
If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew and the captain himself would be hauled over the coals. For aiding and abetting a renegade. He must be talking about Pavlova. Or maybe not. I just figured When he said renegade, I thought he might be talking about the girl.
Please, no more. I will tell everything.
Ugh!
I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore.
These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe.
Yes. So when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help. Everyone together. She threw away everything. Her fame in the ballet. Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel.
I don't believe it.
You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night.
Holy crap! Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point.
Da. We could not make all drug. How do you say, dissolve?
Ugh! Talk about heavy seasoning.
At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by a comrade on shore with small fishing boat.
While all the passengers of the SS Burya slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical efforts of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained. So, if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew. People who dislike chicken and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. Okay, so Kazuma and the crew were the only ones awake last night. Why would they need to kill him, though? And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door.
But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos.
Not if everybody's asleep. That's it. Everybody was just asleep. The ship does some, makes a hard stop. Everybody just wakes up like, huh? What happened? Oh, a locked door. That's normal. Damn. Oh, I wouldn't say so.
What?
Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins. After which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night.
Yes!
Excuse me.
Yes!
The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually, I think I said that right, would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway. And so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. The almost perfect crime. Yeah, for real. But if they just wanted to get Pavlova on the ship, what is someone's motive for murder? In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship. Oh my god. Could it be? Could it be that Kazuma saw them bringing the girl on the ship? They noticed, like, we better not let that guy report anything. Let's shake him. Is that why Kazuma was killed? Because he witnessed a different crime? In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. Ah! Oh!
You have talked long time and said many things. What is point?
The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life that night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock the door. All told, a busy night. But I don't know about any of this. I'm just a little girl.
You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes.
A laudable trait.
What?
I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, yes?
Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of the guilt on the wind. What accusatory?
Fuck you, game. Stop giving me this word.
What accusatory cry of guilt?
Sorry, you've lost me.
Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes. For observation is the basis of all deduction.
What are you talking about?
I believe the time has come.
For one final, logic and reasoning spectacular, to expose the truth. Here we go again!
So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, if you please.
With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes?
With observation, my dear fellow. Just as I said. One of these two provocators. Observation. If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Ahsoki's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened.
Precisely. You are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. All right, I'll see what I can do. Did I read that right? I think I read that wrong. Whatever. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. All right. Oh! 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 Frick!
Yes!
Seaman Stroganoff. You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there.
Yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from.
So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain?
What are you trying to say?
It would appear that the significance of this stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform.
And I think what what made it is clear.
Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves that the stain was on... What the stain on the back of Seaman Stroganov's uniform really is... Alright, do I have a picture of the ink? Oh. Purple ink! Alright, this one works.
Yes.
Yes, it's this photograph, and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform.
Ink.
A rather unusual color of ink. Purple.
Oh!
Ah, the penny drops at last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of the exact same color. If the ink had been dry, it could possibly have stained your uniform in that way. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform in that way. Which means... you must have been present in the cabin. In the moments immediately after the ink was spilled. What do you got to say for yourself, Beef? Beefy boy?
All right. Yes. It was me. I did it. Everything.
Holy crap! Oh!
I arranged everything in the student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Buria do emergency stop and bolt cabin doors shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel.
Beef, please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty, patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet.
Beef, please! You must help me!
I went with her to the cabin number 1 was open. The door to cabin 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw a student boy on floor.
So he didn't kill him?
What happened here?
Please, don't tell anyone. My little one. My little furry friend.
So she thought the cat did it too.
Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you. The kitten
escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Ahsoki's cabin. Then he tripped over and broke his neck when he fell to the floor?
Yes, that is right.
It can't really just be an accident, can it? So after the incident when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers, only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor.
She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel. The door was not locked. So she opened to look and you already know what happened after.
There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Ahsoki's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead?
Why?
I already told you. When Nina opened door of student's cabin and looked.
I was asking Miss Pavlova. Well, Miss Pavlova? I think that's da.
Da. Oh? Yes, that is right.
So he was already dead?
I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared.
I understand, and I believe you. So is that finally it now? No, you're still the only one who could have killed him at the moment. Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last? Ah! Something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes? This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. What about it? The cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten, on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there is one particular area in this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural.
What do you mean, unnatural?
What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, well...
Unnatural? If Kazuma tripped and fell by some terrible stroke of bad luck and broke his neck, which part of this photograph print seems unnatural? Oh, thanks, Jay-sama. Which part of the photo? Okay, so let's say he tripped over the cat, broke his neck. The clenched fist, possibly. I don't know. You guys got any ideas? I can only guess the fist. Or his head. His head. I'm not sure I follow you there, but let's try the fist first. All right. If he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then his fist just doesn't seem quite right. Oh, so I was right. It was the fist. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something. A fist. Maybe he saw his attacker and was gonna try and punch him. That would make sense. Excuse me.
What do you mean?
Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray, do you imagine I found in there, my dear fellow?
Mr. Sholmes, show us, please!
Why, of course, my dear madam. Why would I keep you in suspense? What the... I've seen that before. Where have I seen that before? I've seen it somewhere before. I just don't know where. This is what I found.
Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle.
Yes, you're right. A crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us? It tells us nothing.
I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks... It looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. It is an earring. Yeah, you're right, Jawware. Pretty sure. Could it be? No. Could I have seen it on Pavlova? I'm sure, Jawware, you're right. I'm sure that's an earring. What? The truth is now tantalizing. Tantalizingly? I think. The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue. The last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe. Find the answer with your own eyes. Oh! No way! Did she do it?
Yes!
Miss Pavlova, on your ear there. I see you have a crescent moon as well.
Oh! What?
And on your other ear, there seems to be a crescent moon missing. The little link holding onto it must have broken, I suppose. Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there is only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Ahsoki must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Ahsoki's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Ahsoki do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it with his clenched fist during his final moments?
Oh
no! Angel.
No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night,
What did you do to Kazuma?
ow, that didn't work. When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away in the fishing boat in the middle. Oh, that must be her.
running away. The fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb up onto the huge ship. And then, when I was at last in the cabin, and I could relax after this horrible long day. Darka, wait!
So the cat ran into the vent.
I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Darka would not come back.
Inspector? Who's this talking?
What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector?
Or was Kazuma talking? Oh,
I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
So he was alive.
The young man from your country, he was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin...
Just a moment. Sorry, but...
Oh, yes?
I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina.
Huh? No! I don't know that name! My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina?
Because... Oh, because the inspector talked about her, I bet. Or wait.
Yes, I saw your performance in Japan.
Oh, okay, that's a simpler explanation.
The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment.
I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice.
I see. So you've run away.
Please, please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone.
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. Oh!
He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him?
And she killed him for it?
Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait! I shouted, and then... Darka jumped out of my arms. And down to the young man's feet. And... as he turned around to look at me...
Oh!
I pushed him.
She killed him!
I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me.
She really did kill him. And that's when you went to fetch help? From Seaman Stroganov, who was on duty in the passageway.
I heard Nina cry out and thud on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said,
Help me, Beef! If they find out, I'll be... Please, I have nowhere to go.
So you decided to help. And that's when you arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did it. So that no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door.
Yes. I went into cabin and looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found Stowaway in wardrobe, still sleeping.
Right. That's when he found me. So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway.
I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange paper side.
Luckily for me, that's the only reason Susato-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent.
I dragged young man's body to a good place and used ink that was spilling to write on floor. I wrote, tap a boy, yeah,
I don't know Russian.
so that the person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find stowaway.
And tell me, what of the glass bell?
It was by my feet, so I picked it up.
You should have thrown it off the side of the ship. Then nobody would have ever seen it. I see.
But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half.
The angel went back to her cabin, and I finished job.
By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway.
Yes.
Accordingly, the SS Bureau did indeed come into an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m., thus inciting the bolts on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova.
What?
Well, you said that you told Cosma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland. And it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. What? Wait, he was still alive? Isn't that right? Oh my... So did she injure him and then Beef finished the job? But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? Did I misunderstand? Was he already dead? Maybe I misunderstood.
It was what he said first that made me scared.
What he said first. What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
He said an inspector was his friend.
Oh! Yes, meaning me. Who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard?
I thought if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, I...
May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It's just... it doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Ahsoki really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know.
What?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I'm not Cosmo, so I can't know for certain, but... he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give you your secret away, then he wouldn't have done it.
No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not done yet, it seems. There's only one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Yes. What action was the victim really about to take at that moment? He was about to, try and wake up Ryunosuke. Can we determine whether the young man's gaze was directed? the music. I think this is another version of Kazuma's theme. It is. Interesting. First, consider the victim's location within his cabin. That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in that wardrobe, but still. That cabin had been my home for this entire voyage.
So this is how the cabin looked last night, when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama.
Yes, it's exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes! If there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manners of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So, when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at? The wardrobe, obviously.
Take that!
Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly it may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes. However, what is directly besides the bell cord? The wardrobe.
The wardrobe?
And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly.
Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Mr. Ahsoki's exact words last night?
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
Another opinion?
Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Ahsoki intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt.
Oh, no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Ahsoki was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had.
Miss Pavlova. I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. And that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that.
I'm sorry. Really? I'm so sorry. What have I done?
And so, at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Burya was finally laid to rest. January 9th, 7:14 p.m. SS Burya First Class Cabin Passageway. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now then?
Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police and at Scotland Yard.
What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her?
Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out.
Mr. Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia then?
No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she'd be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life.
I see.
I'm sorry.
Seaman Stroganov?
I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you, about how you lost a good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police.
That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you?
Da. Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan.
Yes. I did stow away after all. I couldn't really expect any different.
So, you should get back to your cabin now.
Oh, so we're not going to Britain? Dang. Oh well. It looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it even begun then. Or before it's even begun then. To think that only days ago, Kazuma and I were laughing together about how we'd tear up the streets of London. That seems like distant memory now. Oh? What's that? Is it someone weeping? Oh. Susato-san.
Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned.
Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack. You know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. Aw.
I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that.
Susato-san.
He had such grand ideas for this visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away, just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. That it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo-san. It's just too much.
Yes, I know. Oh, this must be Hosonaga.
I wish there was something I could say.
Inspector.
My duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain. But I failed. And caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder.
Can I get a passport to Great Britain? Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now, at least. Wait, what? Huh? Oh, son of a... You did this just to prank me! Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo! What is the meaning of this? Oh, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head, I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry? So I decided to restore them. For old time's sakes, shall we say? You are a stowaway after all. He thinks this is funny?
Mr. Sholmes. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heart-rending. I hope that you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor.
I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened.
What? Wait a minute! It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway.
The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant.
Was to be?
In the light of Mr. Ahsoki's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead.
Oh no. I don't care for me, but... Poor Susato-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely.
But there is no one else with that necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer.
Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid.
Oh, but
anyway, the voyage to London still promises to be a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer.
yes.
Miss Susato.
Yes?
Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it?
But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law?
No, I'm not, but...
I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work.
But he successfully defended himself in court. I mean, that has to count for something. But, as I said, there is still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain.
Mr. Naruhodo.
That's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all that in just 40 days?
There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector. Every single day. Will you let me try? And if by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate.
But why put yourself in such a difficult position?
For Kazuma. He said there was something he had to do in Great Britain. And that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit, too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Miss Susato? I think that's the first time I've seen her smile.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you. So, what does our bespeckled inspector friend say?
Are you serious?
One lawyer and one assistant. The numbers are indisputable.
No, it's madness!
Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree?
Fascinating?
Duty and rules are the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest. Give us fascination.
Speak for yourself!
Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the earlier hours of the morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage.
Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice.
Inspector!
After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here.
Oh, thank you, Inspector!
If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next, and how best to make my report.
Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I'm going to try. I wonder. Would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer?
I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant, after all.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Naruhodo? I'd like you to take charge of this.
What? Me? Are you sure?
I'm sure it's what Kazuma-san would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that has been in the Asogi clan for generations.
Karuma. You know, that's actually the Japanese name of Von Karma, I believe. What they called them in the Japanese version of the game, I mean. Very well. I accept. I'll treasure it always. So then, Miss Susato, it seems we'll be working together for some time yet to come. Or to come yet.
It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study.
Yes! That's exactly what I need!
But, before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you, too.
Goodness. What is it?
Please throw me to the ground. 3 times.
What?
I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course, you would never have done anything to hurt him. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior. No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away, and the cabin door was locked from the— No! I won't let you make excuses for me! Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you. Not just once, but 5 times!
The number keeps creeping up, doesn't it?
Please, you must! Just take hold of me and throw! Do it! Don't even think about it!
Hey, I see a nice bed you could land her on.
No! I don't even know how! I've never thrown anyone in my life!
Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes!
I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed.
When did he see that?
I presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling?
Oh, well, in a way. It's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujitsu technique.
Did she actually say that? What, the bed comment? No, that was me. Apparently, it's called the Susato Takedown. I'll leave your head swimming. It leaves your head swimming, believe me. How beguiling. I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am a somewhat accomplished boxer. There he goes, dancing around again. I wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the technique of your arresting throw? Oh, that was Sholmes. I wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the technique of your arresting throw.
Yes, I'd be honored.
That animation, I know, it's hilarious.
Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madam. Oh, of course. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry?
Hiya! As you can see, you throw from the abdomen.
Oh, yes, arresting indeed. And that is what you term the Susato Takedown, is it?
Actually, no. That was the Susato Squash.
Wow. In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered into my mind. The sword. Karuma. That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Ahsoki clan. I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain.
And I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me.
Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
But what is this thing? That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what it was. Well, how the heck are we supposed to find out now, I wonder? But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London. Good luck, don't get stabbed. End. Crash Course Candidate awarded. Save your current progress? Yes. I guess save over the first file, since I guess I don't really need that anymore. Episode 3, The Adventure of the Runaway Room. Well, that sounds interesting. We shall get to it next Friday. Because, let's see, it's been about 3 hours. I'd say we're good here. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed, that, interesting case. Kind of tragic as well. Poor guy lost his life just to a blatant accident. Man, that really sucks. Remember when we thought that this dude was Edgeworth's ancestor? Crazy. Well, maybe not Edgeworth, but maybe somebody else related to Edgeworth. I don't know. But, well, I guess he didn't live long enough to have kids, so he doesn't have any descendants, so... Oh, well. Anyways, guys, I shall see you all next week. Until then,